Just making a correction. I mainly deal in civil and tax matters. The human mind has an incredible capacity to transport you to the past as well as the future. It can take you anywhere and place you in any situation, while your physical body remains right where you are. So I appeal to each one of you for a few minutes to forget about this podium and the speaker, forget this auditorium and the individual sitting around you, and visualize yourself in the midst of a deep sleep, in your bed, in your house. Now, your mom enters your room and wakes you up. You open your eyes and stare at her. You stare at her as if you're seeing an alien and you scream. Your dad in a blind panic comes running. Seeing him, your screaming intensifies. Your mom and dad are desperately trying to calm you down and bring you to your senses. However, your name and your identity, your relationship with them, and even the language spoken by them is beyond your comprehension. You're in the same helpless state as on the day you were born. Can you imagine a more helpless situation than this? A state we're in. Even though your dear dad and mom, your little son and daughter, your brother and sister, your spouse, and your best friend are all standing right in front of you, and you're unable to remember their names and identify them. It is due to our ability to store information and then to remember, recall, and recollect whatever we have seen and heard, sensed and experienced, studied and observed, that we are able to remember our identity, perform our daily routine, maintain our relationships, operate our computer and mobile phone, drive our car, protect our wealth, and manage our bank accounts with such ease. In the absence of these abilities, our very existence would be in great peril. Unaware of the danger that a sharp object can cause us to bleed to death, we may take a blade and slash our throat. Unmindful of the fact that a speeding car can run us over, we may walk into the middle of a road, unconscious of the fact that a fire can burn us to death. We may happily walk into a furnace. The ability to store information and then to remember, recall, and recollect it is just one of the innumerable functions performed by our brain during every second we breathe. When scientists in Japan attempted to mimic 1/100th of 1 second's worth of human brain activity, they had to rely on a supercomputer. They had to use 83,000 processors for 40 minutes, and memory which is equal to about 25,000 standard computers just to mimic 1/100th of 1 seconds of what our brain can do. With his amazing brain power, man can rise to the level of angel or stoop to the level of Satan. He can wipe the tears of the deprived people of their livelihood. He can heal wounds or make people bleed. He can sustain nature or destroy it. He can bring peace or war. Hence, it's essential that man must ponder about these amazing and highly complex faculties he possesses and make an earnest effort to find them. Whether we have come to this earth as a result of mere accident, or is there an originator and purpose behind all this. This quest for truth is essential to make man act in a responsible manner. If man behaves in a responsible manner, the world would be a better place to live in. Statutes and criminal laws can make a person accountable only if his deeds are detected. Unfortunately, the vast majority of crimes and wrongdoings go undetected, and this fact is a temptation for many to commit heinous crimes and wrongdoings. However, the man is convinced that they will be held accountable for all their deeds, even after their death. Then he will behave in a more responsible manner. So it's our duty to find out what's the real purpose of our existence, the real reason for our existence. To get rather a convincing and rational answer, we need to find out certain answers. Do time, space, and matter have an originator? If there is an originator, then naturally that originator will be beyond time, beyond space, and beyond matter, and in that case, there is no sense in asking who created the originator, or when was the origin of the originator, or the true form of the originator, because he is the one who originated time, space, and matter. And in that case, there is no sense, because he is beyond its limitations, confinements, and laws. Many scientists believe time, space, and matter came into existence from a massive explosion, scientifically termed as Big Bang. As the universe and its subsequent developments evolved completely independently and differently from what was before, we are incapable of comprehending a state prior to that. As per the Big Bang theory, this universe came into being when the single point with zero volume exploded. And this indicates that this universe came into being out of nothing. Only if man is rationally convinced that there is an originator behind the Big Bang explosion, then and only then can he rationally accept an originator. Explosions do not produce order. On the contrary, they create disorder and destruction. For instance, an explosion in a supermarket can only result in overturned racks and scattered and burned food items and consumer products. However, after the Big Bang explosion, we see all details based on the finest calculations and the most delicate balances. For instance, in the next second after the Big Bang explosion, if the speed of the expansion had been a little less, then the universe would have imploded. On the other hand, if the speed of the expansion had been a little faster, then all existing matter would have been simply scattered around and disappeared. If the density had been just slightly greater, then the universe could not have expanded at all and would again have contracted back to a single point. On the contrary, if the density had been slightly less, then the universe would have expanded at top speed, in which case atomic particles would fail to attract and bind to one another, and stars and galaxies would never have formed. In short, even if a microscopic variation had occurred in the next second after the Big Bang explosion, this universe would not have existed in the present state. Such kind of a flawless and highly accurate speed and equilibrium can never come about by the spontaneous combination of atoms in a random explosion. All the details we see points to an originator. who is beyond time, beyond space, beyond matter, and beyond the universe. As the originator is beyond the universe, we will not be able to see or hear him. However, we can rationally and scientifically accept his existence from the incalculable evidences manifested in his creations, including our own body. Nevertheless, the existence of an originator alone is simply not enough to deter man from committing crimes and atrocities, or to make him kind-hearted and charitable. However, if man is rationally convinced that the one who created him initially can recreate him and make him accountable for all his actions even after his death, then he will be much more likely to lead a self-righteous life. For instance, the first generation camera, computer, and mobile phone were originally developed after prolonged research and on the basis of accumulated scientific knowledge, investigations, research, and technologies dating back centuries. However, once a product has been originally developed, then to produce similar products is effortless. Likewise, if you are convinced that your existence is not the result of a mere accident, then you can accept the possibility of the originator recreating you. Let me give you one example. The sperm and ovum join to form the zygote. The zygote is then divided into basic cells. All important organs are developed from these basic cells, and one common characteristic present in all these basic cells is the presence of DNA and genes. The information needed to transform these basic cells to various organs are found in the DNA in the form of genes. If the basic cell is intended to develop in your heart, then that particular direction needed alone will be active, and all other directions for developing that cell into various other organs will be inactive. Hence, that cell develops into a heart. If a 2-year-old baby takes a pen and starts scribbling on a piece of paper, and without any training in writing alphabets, continues to scribble for days and weeks, months and even years, then poems, essays and novels will not be produced. Then how can the highly complex information and directions contained in the DNA and genes come into existence by random chance? Hence, if you're convinced that your existence is not the result of a mere accident, then you can accept the possibility of the one who created you initially recreating you. Even though no one has ever returned from the grave to tell us anything about their after-death experience, still the uniqueness of man strongly suggests that man will be held fully accountable for all his actions. For millions of years, spiders have been weaving webs, and bees have made hives in the same manner. The same is the case with all other species, barring humans. Apart from man, no other species have developed abilities to acquire knowledge, make discoveries, invent things, adapt new technologies, and pass the knowledge acquired by one generation to the next. Further, none of the actions of other living beings can outlive its life. However, man is unique. His inventions and discoveries technologies and actions have far-reaching consequences beyond generations and ages. The fire that the primitive man had discovered can still be used by the present generation to cook food, as well as set fire to his neighbor's house. Atoms can be used to produce energy, as well as destructive bombs. And man has got the ability and freedom to choose between right and wrong. If the originator has programmed you with this freedom and ability to choose between right and wrong, and if our actions have far-reaching consequences beyond generations, then without doubt, he has intended to make us accountable too. Once more, I request you to forget about this podium and speaker, forget this auditorium and the individual sitting around you, and visualize yourself attending a funeral. Death has always terrified you, and now you're face to face with it. You're sad, scared, and uncomfortable. You will not be able to look at the face of a dead body for long, as it reminds you about your awaiting death. And you do not want to be in the dark and lonely, suffocating, confining, lifeless tomb. However, death is an uninvited guest, and it may snatch you at any moment. The worldly things for which you have looked up so much about becomes really meaningless when you look at the bigger picture of death. So, if you want to face death with courage and hope, and if you want to outlive your death, then strive for the good of mankind through deeds of compassion and love, nobility in words and action, and lead a life full of joy and action, as if death will never overtake you. But lead a righteous life, as if death may take you the very next moment. Thank you.